And now here's Del Fujinaka, managing partner of Hoku Legacy Holdings, empowering you to live and leave your legacy and simplifying the complexities of managing your cash flow.
Good morning. My name is Del Fujinaka, your host for Success, Sports, and Finance, looking to empower every individual with their sports story and how it ties into finance. You know, several years ago, I remember for decades, I had a financial advisor firm and was doing quite well and loving a lot of clients, did the golf thing, had the nice office. And there's a stirring that went on for me in light of what does it mean to be unbiased? And then I wrote down in my journal one day, what if everything I learned about money was only half the truth? When would I want to learn the other half? And that took me on a journey to end up selling my business because I found out as a financial advisor, I was very biased specifically for Wall Street products. And then it unfolded where I got to see a whole different story, a whole different, if we're talking about sports, a different offensive and defensive playbook of what the 1% do. And so this morning, I'm excited to bring on a special guest talking about what does it mean to be unbiased in your wealth. And yet there's so many beautiful parallels with our stories with sports. And I can think back, it was very nostalgic because I remember back in 1986, almost 40 years ago, when I was reflecting on making my first road game at the University of Hawaii, Rainbow Hawaii Warriors. And as a football player, one of 4 Asian guys. And I went from scout team to all the way to the travel squad. And I began to text guys. And you know what's so interesting? How fast 39, 40 years go by. It was just like yesterday when I was texting David Maeva and Jim Joy. They were on the travel squad too. But I remember dealing with that setback, popping my hamstring in the last day of hard practice during that week. And it was only like yesterday where the response in my sports would have to be principles that would be responses of setbacks in business. And so, this morning I'm thinking about, I journaled down as you're listening here, when obstacles arise, change your direction to reach your goal, not the decision to get there. And a lot of times it's a release. When the following year I tore my media collateral, I knew in a skilled position it was time to transition. But I could bring all the other sports principles of success into what I do in my career. And the beautiful thing about it is now the principles remain the same. And I've got to develop so many dear friendships. And I want to give you this perspective as I bring on this special guest because, life is but a mist. And when I think about how quickly 30 years went by and all my ambition, and then the next 30 years where I'm coming up into what I declare the super 60, and then thinking about where my mom is at, and I dedicated the last episode to my mom and dad and growing up in Kaneohe and looking at their lives. And my mom's now 87. And how fast life is. So the power of association, who you hang around with, whatever you do with your finances, with your quality relationships, for myself, I don't take that for granted. And this individual that I'm going to bring on right now, I had the privilege of knowing him for years, and what I call hoku pa'a, the true north and principles and his success. In sports, I was reading this out here. In sports, when I look back, I researched him as a Kamehameha grad. And then in 1977 to 1981, he was actually at Pepperdine University playing volleyball. And, this is quoted by the heroes. The title is in the 1980s, The Unsung Heroes. And his name is Jay Iranon. Jay started at Pepperdine in the late 1970s and was on the 1978 team that won it all. When his eligibility was up, he continued at the university in different roles. He assisted the team in all aspects, mostly with strength and conditioning, which is a powerful, powerful principle there that I want to look forward to dialoguing about him. And before taking a position in admissions, he then earned his MBA. His teammates and I agreed that we had never been around a more caring, loyal, genuine, and kind person. His teammates and I love him because he loves us. So interesting. Last week I talked about how faith, hope, and love is the key principles. Whether you're in sports, we're seeing it happen live in the University of Hawaii football team, and then or you're doing it in business. That's a culture that I don't take for granted. So this morning, oh, I forgot to mention now. So you look at the transition to tie in with his success. I was walking early this morning and I saw Swinnerton Group, and they're a very, very large company. And we're going to hear some tie-ins with that. And he started there at Swinnerton Group from 2008 to 2019. And he's done so many different ventures and projects that prove his principles with sports into his success, but beyond that, living life in significance. I declare this. He started a foundation in 1999. So that's why I know he's living life in significance beyond his success. And that foundation is called Jay Iranon Foundation. So with that, I look forward to this interview and more things to come. But Jay, I want to welcome to the Success Sports and Finance Show, Mr. Jay Iranon. Jay, welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you, Dale. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Super excited to have you here, man. So, well, let's start things off. Share with the listeners and myself about your journey and success in sports.
Yeah, when you ask that question, there's obviously a lifetime of reflection. I'm 67 years old, so you go back from when you were born and how it walked into sports is one of the elements of my life that I hope that every element of my life or our lives would impact in infinite ways, eternal ways, right? And so that's really the key. When I look at the successes of sports and how it reflects, my experience in that is truly more than a destination, meaning it's more than winning games, championships, inductions to Hall of Fames, medals, and the things I've trained for to keep my spot on the team. It's highly competitive. Those accolades are just memories now. They're long past. And success in sport is truly an ongoing journey that carries on even when I'm not competing in sports like I did when I was younger.
Yes.
It goes infinitely beyond each season's winning of games. It goes beyond my ability to win or lose, for that matter. The platform of opportunity to establish a culture of how you become in life and who you become in life. I love Marv Dunphy, who is a dear friend. He's the John Wooden of volleyball, for sure. He said, it's not where you are, it's who you are. That culture helps one another become the best person we're made to be in the midst of competition where one person wins and another. Yet in life, both win because character counts.
Beautiful. Now, quick question, Jay. Why volleyball in Kamehameha schools? What ignited there to choose volleyball in the midst of all the other sports?
My older brother started playing volleyball, and one summer we were just tossing around the volleyball and in the yard, and I liked it. And so I followed his lead and got on the team when I was a junior. My brother was a senior. That really triggered volleyball, and I loved the sport. I grew to love the sport. It allowed me to get on Pepperdine's team. I didn't know any of the recruiting elements. No one had shared with me. I just thought I'm supposed to go to Pepperdine and try out. Unbeknownst to me, they were second in the nation at that time. I'm glad I didn't know.
Wow.
And they were giants. You know, these guys, many of them became gold medalists, 2-time gold medalists.
Oh my gosh. Now, Jay, what was your height and weight at that time?
Oh boy, I was about 160 pounds, 5'11", around 5'11". Yeah, I was a small guy.
So you have to have stories of overcoming and being that tall and that light, competing with these giants.
Yeah, one of the things I learned is I can't be 6'11".
Right.
I can't. I'm 5'11". I can't be someone else. I had to find out what attributes do I have that would contribute to the team. I was never the best athlete on the team. These guys are gold medalists, All-Americans, right? These guys are amazing, amazing athletes. So what do I bring to the table? So I looked at one of the attributes. In order to stay on the team, I decided when I was a freshman, I'm going to get the highest jump in the country.
Oh, my gosh.
And I sat in my room in college, figuring out how I'm going to do that. I broke it down. I wasn't concerned with the millions of people that were jumping in the country.
Yeah.
I wasn't concerned about that.
Yes.
I was focused on what do I need to obtain that goal.
Oh, my gosh. So good.
So good. I kept my eyes on me. I did research on a gentleman by the name of Diego Lapel. He was in the Olympic team in Cuba.
Mm-hmm.
And Cubans had the highest jumps in the world, 55-inch jumps. You know, and I looked at Diego Lapel. Interesting enough, he and I were about the same size, same shape, everything. So he jumped like he was jumping off of a trampoline. So I studied a little bit about what he did, and then I upped the ante, and I said, I'm going to do more than that.
Wow. Hey, Jay, you know what? Please, I want you to hold that thought because, like any radio show, we have to go to a short commercial break. But when we come back, Jay, I really want you, there's principles here that I know is lifelong for you in your success. And so let's drill down deeper when we come back. Okay, Jay? When we come back.
Look forward.
Yeah, thanks.
So, you've built a successful business. Now what? Whether you want to sell, step back, or pass it on, your business needs to thrive without you. That's where the Hoku Legacy System comes in. Our step-by-step process helps you build a business that runs without you, boosting its value and giving you back control of your time. On average, businesses with a Value Builder score of 80+ receive offers of 6.1x pre-tax profit, compared to just 3.55x for the typical business. And many see their value increase by up to 71% after completing the full process. It's time to build a business that gives you freedom, value, and options. The Hoku Legacy System, built to protect your legacy and empower your next chapter.
Yeah. You're listening to Hoku Legacy on CBS 1500.
Hey, welcome back. You're listening to Success, Sports, and Finance, your show of tying in everything to do with past stories, recent stories of sports, and how it impacts your success with tying into finance. And before the break, I was sharing, we have Jay Iranon on the line on the show, and he was sharing a little bit more. You're going to hear some great tie-ins to success, but he was sharing on personal discipline of fighting against the opposition, and he wasn't caring about anybody else. He was just caring about what he had to do with his discipline. And I think if I can summarize the discipline, the work ethic, the culture that he has lifted my life up to, I look forward to getting more deeper into it. So Jay, continue on with your discipline.
Yes, I believe we were just chatting about, just what are the things that we learned, understanding that I was never the best athlete on the team, meaning from a volleyball standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to look at what we can contribute. And the way I thought as I look back is I can contribute heart. I can contribute a tenacity for excellence. I can contribute to my work ethic that is beyond. I want to be the best person in shape, and that helps others get to that point. What about the character of a person, which is more because now some of my teammates still play, but not to the extent that they used to.
Right.
So what is it that you bring with you that is most important? It's the culture of lifestyle.
Wow.
That's really the success that sports and other venues, such as marketplace endeavors, anything, family, it has, you cannot live without a culture.
Mm-hmm.
And if you define that healthy culture, it's going to set its own alliances, and it could be inferior to what God wants you to become.
Mm.
It's really important.
Wow. So I'm hearing you, and you defined, going into that venture in Pepperdine, being number 2 in the nation, from defining what it is you wanted and what were you willing to give up in order to get what you want. And I heard some things of your power of association. Now, you planning your work and working your plan, what did that look like to get to the highest jump?
Well, you have to so getting the highest jump is the concept. Mm-hmm. Right? It's just the philosophy. That's the goal. But it has to build down to functionalities. What are you willing to do every day? Commitment helps you begin. Consistency on that commitment is needed until you get to the goal that you're looking to accomplish. And you have to break it down in the sense of, okay, what do I need to do? What is it that I want to do? Every little intricate thing, right, from physical, mental, spiritual, emotional. There are certain sacrifices that you need to make, such as going to bed early rather than going out with guys in college partying after the night's on, when the night starts.
Gotcha.
Waking up at 3:00 in the morning, making sure that my grades are good, but making sure I was working out 3-4 hours a day, and during the summer 6.5 hours a day. 3 work. I was doing more than that. There's things that you have to make a priority, and now not only the things that you do in sports, but the priorities in life. Now, I can stand in the first in line for being imperfect. I don't always do what I want to do, but it's the working process and conforming into the likeness of Christ is what's important.
Wow.
It's pursuing the relationship with God above all things. I had to make that when I was younger, and it's not easy, but it's gloriously difficult. So let's put it that way.
Wow. And so, Jay, the result then was what vertical?
I had a 48-inch jump. It was the highest at that time. Dennis Johnson, who also went to Pepperdine and played basketball, he had a 48-inch jump. Interestingly.
Dude. Oh, my gosh.
I wanted a 50-inch jump, but what happened?
And again, here's the context, right? My locker was 2 lockers down to Allen. I don't know if you remember him. And I was like, okay, that's my bar. He topped 40-inch. And I was like, I'm at 33. I got to 35. And here you are sharing years before you got to a 48-inch vertical.
Yeah, my goal was 50, but when I got jumping at 48 pretty consistent, I hurt my leg and I couldn't jump but 4.8 inches.
Oh my gosh.
I couldn't even do that. And it's the resilience to get back to where you need to. So you have to shore up, get up, and discipline yourself to go through those adversities. Adversities aren't made for you to fail. It's for you to learn, to get better, optimal.
Yeah. And I know that the Wahine volleyball are going through some challenges, with errors and everything, and, the encouragement there. But, you went from the height of going that high I know your story about the low and digging. Can you share a little bit about that at Pepperdine? You and a couple other Punahou guys at Pepperdine inventing a certain move, I guess you would call?
Yeah, if I recall the story or the history behind that, it wasn't me that invented that. It was the pancake dig, where you put your hand on the floor. It's the last effort ditch to make sure that ball doesn't hit the floor.
Gotcha.
And that pancake is slipping your hand between the floor. You actually at times have it on the floor. And then and the ball hits your hand instead of the floor and it bounces back up. It was one of my teammates that brought that and introduced us one. After a year of summer, he came back and he was showing us that the next year in. I said, wow, that's pretty cool. And we were all doing it. We were all doing it and figuring that out. And I think that was the origin of it, where it started to happen. And when we initiated that in games, the referee said, no, it hit the ground. And so we had to explain to the referees that, no, this is what we did. And then it introduced that kind of skill set into the game.
Wow. And when I'm listening to that, Jay, I remember a chapter I wrote in my book, and some people are reading it, listening to it, called Unbiased Wealth. And you actually quoted in there, I love how you stated insightful functionalities. I heard that word this morning, that lead beyond the mere philosophies of wealth. It lends a step-by-step approach to financial independence, personal excellence, and a refreshing biblical culture that implores us to capture the virtues, character, and integrity needed to carry the weightiness of financial gain. And, I wanted to ask you, when one thing came to mind as far as leadership and your role there, leaders understand that belief precedes behavior. A person's influence must flow from his or her, identity. And, I can see already the principles of your leadership there, completely avoiding living in denial, but looking at reality of what you were. Can you speak into that a little bit, Jay?
Yeah, we use finance as the instrument for absolute principles of God. The finance or anything else at its highest level is absolute, which means to me is that the principles, virtues, and characters and culture of God applies at its highest level to all people, all places, all things, for all time. Which then you can take that concept and apply it to financing or anything else in your life, those principles. So the thing, functionality, means that you can say we need to build wealth financing. That's the philosophy. But the actual functionality and details, like just one act, what's the value of me having a 48-inch jump? I don't have one anymore. The value is, how do you drill down the philosophical goal into the functionalities and everyday consistencies that get you to where you're at. You need to go through faith provides answers. Enduring faith provides answers with character. There are certain things that you have to do to obtain financing that builds character in the midst of obtaining financing.
Gotcha.
So that the character carries the weight of the blessings of financing.
Weight and blessing. Jay, when we come back, keep building on that. Hard stop right now. When we come back.
Have you recently changed jobs and now have a 401k or other retirement account that you don't want to risk in the market? You've worked too hard to leave your retirement to chance. And since you'll probably start another retirement account at your new job, why not make sure nothing happens to your last one? Del Fujinaka can help you roll over your retirement account from your previous employer and give you guaranteed of growth with no market risk. Did you know that if you're age 59 and a half, you can move money out of your employer plan, even if you're still working there? Call 808-741-8125 now and ask about up to a 10% bonus on your retirement money just for opening an account. Put your money on an elevator that only goes up. Our phone number again is 808-741-8125. That's 808-741-8125. You can get your free Safe Money Information Kit by calling us now, 808-741-8125.
Hey, House Speaker Mike Johnson continuing to blame Democrats.
Trying their very best to somehow blame Republicans for the forthcoming health care crisis that they themselves created.
Jennifer Jacobs reports preservation groups aren't happy with the renovations at the White House and the demolition of the East Wing.
They were really upset that President Trump didn't go through the normal channels of having historic review and opening this up to public comment. The demolition has advanced more than we originally thought.
President Trump is meeting with the NATO Secretary General at this hour after another barrage of Russian attacks on Ukraine. Ramy Inocencio reports.
President Zelensky on X said that there is no justification ever for Russia to hit.
Yeah. You're listening to Hoku Legacy on CBS 1500.
Welcome back to Success, Sports, and Finance. Your success, your sports story. I'm back with Mr. Jay Iranon, national champion at Pepperdine University and a very successful individual. You know, we're talking about discipline and habits. Jay, can you continue on and build on that?
Yes, the consistency, habits can be good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
You have to. What I mean by habits is what is your normal way of living? What is that? And I've got a quote that says, "Excellence is before us all.
Mm-hmm.
Choosing to walk in it is what makes the difference."
Wow.
We have to look at what is the definition of excellence. What are the things we need to do to function in that?
Mm-hmm.
And that's an everyday. That's an everyday deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's an everyday deal. You have to have a root system to establish these things, these definitions of excellence, of success. What is success? Because there's many definitions out there, but what's the best one?
Sure.
What's the best definition? You have to really look at what that is, because there's a lot of opinions out there of what excellence is. The true north for me is understanding how God defines things,
Mm-hmm.
how the Father, the Son, Jesus Christ, and Holy Spirit, how do they define excellence? How do they define success? How do they define stewarding resources like financing?
Mm-hmm.
What does it look like? Because that's a cultural lifestyle that needs to be embedded and implored within your life.
Yes.
That just by the way you live becomes an example for others. That's critical.
So good. So good. And you know, when I think about one of the chapters I wrote in my book about living Hokupa'a and identified what it represents, you talked about consistency and having integrity and being predictable in all your dealings. So try and tie in what you remember at Pepperdine along with the success you had in the journey with your career, Jay.
You know, college has been a bittersweet.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up and learning, and college is one of the critical seasons of our lives where we have an opportunity to grow well, to develop who God designed us to be. And when I look back, a lot of things that I look at is highly difficult.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of disappointments.
Right.
The things that I wanted to do, I didn't get to do. But I worked my heart out, my life out to do. But when I look back, I see those difficulties is, how do we handle those things?
Mm-hmm.
We handle success well, but how do we handle conflict and difficulties and sense of failure well?
Wow.
So that you can grow well.
Yes.
So you can nurture well. I'd like to suggest that what the Lord wants you to become is on the other side of adverse winds.
So good.
It's the cross was not the promise of God. It was the process of God.
Mm-hmm.
The promise was the ascension so that we can have eternal life with Him. he didn't come to die on the cross. He came to have salvation for his children.
Mm-hmm.
The cross was the process. And I look at college as the process, a lot of it. But it's not just then. It's now. We're never short of trials and tribulations.
Right.
We're never short of it. And understanding that and how to manage that is a key element. How do we handle adversities?
Wow.
You go back to the context of sports where I start to see a cultural decay
Yes.
in character, integrity.
Yes.
What about football when you can hit someone and tackle someone, but take the time to help them up?
Mm-hmm.
And people aren't, I see some of it, but I see very little of it sometimes, and I'd like to see more of that.
Mm-hmm.
When the other opponent is hurting, are you willing to take the time to help, to pick him up, to carry him to the sidelines?
Mm-hmm.
Those attributes are very important.
Wow. Wow. And I wanted to ask you, who's Marv Dunphy?
Marv Dunphy I was our head coach.
Mm-hmm.
He also is the coach's coach for Olympic coaches, volleyball coaches now through the Olympics.
Wow.
He's been through 56 countries, I believe. Forgive me for my facts might be somewhat skewed because I don't remember all of it. He was also the U.S. men's were back-to-back gold medal during our era at Pepperdine. Those Olympic seasons, the 80, 84, they would go back-to-back gold medalists. He was the 84 head coach for the gold medal.
Oh my gosh.
He is a dear friend. We still keep in touch.
Wow.
And he's a wonderful, wonderful man. The thing that he taught me the most is character, not volleyball.
Wow.
Life philosophies. He says anyone in the stands can tell you what you're doing wrong, but it's a keen eye to show you what you need to do that is right. Mm-hmm. And those kind of things, the things that he said, it's not, they go all over the world playing, and he said it's not where you are, it's who you are.
Wow. Not bad power of association you got there, huh? Back in history, Yeah. My mentor was Coach Bob Wagner. He didn't care, what color I was. He just was looking for results, but he's a lot of consistencies of what you shared. And I'm just thinking back of the constant film, constantly looking at repetition, and for your coach to declare you as caring, loyal, genuine, that has to be your source. You're sharing a little bit about your faith. It's really consistent. There's clarity there from what I'm receiving. You want to speak more into that?
Yeah, when you speak about success in sports or just in life in general, I'd be remiss if I left Jesus Christ out of my whole deal. It's my root system. I have no hope outside of him. I have no purpose. I have no vision. I have no context of life without him.
Wow.
Apart from him, I can do nothing. And when I look back, that's the only thing that sustains me. Mm-hmm. And when I look forward, that's the only person that will sustain me.
Wow.
When you will pursue what you love the most. Love was designed by God to have an insatiable desire to obtain what you love the most. And when you do obtain those things that you love the most, you want more of it.
Yeah.
And so it's key to have that root system of intimacy with the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Wow.
It's key, because if you have something less than your relationship with the Lord, the intimacy that He designed, if you have something less as a goal, then you're going to steer away to what you love the most. You're going to do what you love the most. And financing is a great resource, but it's temporal.
Yes.
You have to take these temporal blessings and resources that God gives you for infinite and eternal purposes that lead you to an eternal life with God. Eternity doesn't begin when we die physically. It's already here.
Yeah. Yeah. This is so good, Jay, because, you're living out your faith. It doesn't matter, like I said, the first 30 years of your life. I mean, you shared some stories. I mean, just crazy stuff happening in development and all of that. And yet your hope is, it's not like about happiness. I can see what's oozing out of you is the joy in the greatest times and the most challenging times. But the one thing I sense of you is this whole love. And so you're hanaiing many people. And we're going to take a short commercial break. And, I want you to share on different individuals that you got to hanai. We have kids, right? I have one daughter that's 34 and a son that's 23. And, I had this quote about raising good kids I called it a negatory world, to daily inject faith, hope, and love. And there's guys who gave permission to you to hanai them and speak over them, whether sports or finance. So when we come back, do you mind sharing on that, Jay?
Surely. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, we're going to take a short commercial break, and when we come back, more to come.
Welcome to Willie's Wings, home of the secret sauce.
I'll take a dozen wings. Oh, by the way, I love that sauce. What's in it?
Can't tell you.
Why not?
It's a secret.
While many financial advisors claim to have the secret sauce, they don't. In fact, if their sauce is so good, why are they keeping it a secret? Del Fujinaka of Hoku Legacy Solutions doesn't keep anything a secret. He knows there's much more to retirement planning than stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. He'll develop a strategy designed specifically for you. It's your own secret sauce for retirement. Call Del Fujinaka at Hoku Legacy Solutions for your personal portfolio x-ray. Call 808-741-8125. That's 808-741-8125. Or online at hoku-legacy.com.
Fine, you want to know what's in the sauce?
Absolutely.
Tablespoon of paprika.
Really?
Have you recently changed jobs and now have a 401k or other retirement account that you don't want to risk in the market? You've worked too hard to leave your retirement to chance. And since you'll probably start another retirement account at your new job, why not make sure nothing happens to your last one? Del Fujinaka can help you roll over your retirement account from your previous employer and give you guaranteed of growth with no market risk. Did you know that if you're age 59 and a half, you can move money out of your employer plan, even if you're still working there? Call 808-741-8125 now and ask about up to a 10% bonus on your retirement money just for opening an account. Put your money on an elevator that only goes up. Our phone number again is 808-741-8125. That's 808-741-8125. You can get your free Safe Money Information Kit by calling us now 808-741-8125.
Yeah. You're listening to Hoku Legacy on CBS 1500.
We are back at Success, Sports, and Finance. Your success, your sport in life, your finance. I'm with my special guest, Mr. Jay Iranon, a powerful success with both sports and with his career. Sports, taking it all the way to the D1 college level, having one of the highest jumps in the nation with volleyball, and then now the success with finance and with his career. But before we took the break, we were talking about how, the people that Jay got to hanai in Hawaiian is, cover and encourage and build. It had to be given a permission. Right, Jay? I mean, you can speak all the principles. You can talk about all your excellent ways and to have humility. But if the person or individual doesn't give you the permission, it means nothing. Am I in line with that?
Yes, everyone has a choice to step into excellence. I can't choose that for them. Mm-hmm. Everyone has to own that, your lifestyle. Yeah. We can help explore heavily influence people to walk, and you can disciple, you can teach, you can ask them to follow. And I've had the opportunity, because of those things that I've done in the past, people and athletes who are attracted and interested in me training them to get to where they needed to get to.
Yes.
Olympians and my favorite is an NBA player. In respect to him, I just want to leave his name out, but he's probably one of my favorite testimonies.
Yes.
Life testimonies. And he was a basketball player from Pepperdine when I was there.
Mm-hmm.
And Pepperdine wasn't known for its basketball. They were pretty good, but they weren't, the number one in the nation, and they weren't in that genre of basketball teams. And he was a white guy, 6'6", maybe 6'5", 6'6", white guy. I mean, white guys can't jump, is what they say, right? But put on top of that, he had a knee surgery. The doctor said.
Wow.
The doctor said he wouldn't play again. The coaches said he wouldn't play again. And the coach at that time, he asked me to come and speak to the group, the team, and I said, "How many of you want to go to the NBA?" Of course, all of them raised their hands.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "How many of you want me to?" And they knew that I had the highest jump in the country at that time. And I said, "How many of you believe that if you had at least a 40-inch jump, you could go to the NBA?" They all raised their hands. And I said, "How many of you want me to teach you and train you so that you can?" They all raised their hands. And I says, "Great, meet me here at 3:00 in the morning." And they moan and groan. They says, "What? Why? And one guy that was sitting in front, he goes, "Why do I have to do it at 3:00 when I can do it at 9 a.m.? He goes, "Because everyone else is doing it at 9 a.m.
Nice.
Did you have to change your mindset? Well, after that, and then I looked at them, "Are you willing to come at 3:00 in the morning?" And none of them answered. And I said, "That's what I thought." And I left it. I looked at the coach, and we stopped the conversation. And one of the players that came, that white guy, he came to me and he told me, he said, "Jay, I just had a knee surgery, and doctor said I couldn't play, won't play. The coaches said I can't play, I won't play." I said, "Well, what do you think?" And he looked at me in the eyes with his heart. He says, "Jay, I can play." I go, "That's all that counts." So we proceeded. I said, "Now you got 3 strikes. If you're late, if you're out carousing and you can't perform the way you are,
right,
and if you're not disciplined in doing what your life needs to." So we proceeded. He eventually became the 6th man at Pepperdine, but he was so good. He got recruited to play at the Phoenix Suns. He actually started on the Phoenix Suns team. He was so excellent.
Wow.
He was, we weren't trying to get him to jump well. We tried to look at his attributes. He was fast, quick, strong, and he outran. He was in 10 times the condition as the other guys, because we brought the place of excellence for his life. Here's the missing component. He had Nike contracts. He started from Pepperdine. I remember Jerry West coming to Pepperdine's gym, the Firestone Fieldhouse, to watch him play.
Yeah.
But later on, as he was playing, I saw in the news 7 NBA players got caught with drugs, taking drugs, cocaine, etc. So I saw that. I called him up. I said, "Grant," I said, "Hey, what's going on?" He goes, "Jay, if you were here, this wouldn't have happened." I go, "No, you gotta choose." And what I failed to teach him, I taught him how to be a great basketball player.
Yeah.
But I failed to really, really focus on the character that carries the weight of the blessing.
Wow.
So you talk about friends. I like this saying, "Show me your friends, I'll tell you who you are."
Yeah.
And so he got around the wrong group, and it led to his demise.
Yeah.
He couldn't get out of that addiction. He had a 2-year probation, and he couldn't get out of it. He soon passed away, and I think it was because of the repercussions of that addiction.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So character counts.
Yeah.
Above all else.
And yet he gave you permission to speak into his life, make personal commitments, and thus you saw results outside of that character.
Yeah, he gave me permission, but he had to make the commitment to listen.
Yes.
And to apply.
Oh, yeah.
Because I can do that for him.
Right.
I can speak into, but you have to make a decision to actually be consistent in the difficulties. The greatest things are often found out at the other end of adversity.
Yeah.
You have to work. A lot of people want to go and play athletics or have financing and excel in whatever they're wanting to do, but they're not willing to step into a place of excellence that make you excel above most people.
No, so good. When you talk about sports, in football, we're always watching the clock. And I'm learning, a few months doing this radio show live and now interviewing with you, there's a clock, right? There's hard breaks, there's local breaks, and understanding this, it takes repetition. And in the last minute or so, Jay, because I've seen you and I've watched, you can't teach a mastermind thought leadership. I immediately resonated with you when you started talking about a capital stack, just the playbook. You started talking about critical path and how we're doing some great things happening with real estate. But can you, before we go on a break, and then we'll finish up with, and you're drilling deeper on that. Can you share on that? Because I gave you permission. Let's talk. Let's look at what's there on the Kohala Coast. But share a little on that.
Yeah, it's we have a project that Del and you and I are working on. Del, it's these condominiums that are for sale. My friend, who I went to college with, owns them, and he's a real estate developer. And we have an opportunity to have that as an investment for investors. And the culture of it is, how can everyone win? So the whole philosophy of this investment is, how can everyone win?
Yep.
And it's the one that owns it that's going to sell it to us, those that are going to buy it, the investors. But what about the others that are going to reside in those condominiums? How do they win?
Yeah.
And we've created a seller finance philosophy where I understand that there's, in Hawaii, because the economy scale is just a little messy, where people can't afford to save up their deposits for acquiring a home. They can afford they can afford a mortgage, but they don't have the funds to put a deposit down.
You know what, Jay? Can we hold on this? I'm quarterbacking this and I'm working on the timing. When we come back, Jay, build on that, okay? Seller financing, White Coil Oil Project.
So, you've built a successful business. Now what? Whether you want to sell, step back, or pass it on, your business needs to thrive without you. That's where the Hoku Legacy System comes in. Our step-by-step process helps you build a business that runs without you, boosting its value and giving you back control of your time. On average, businesses with a Value Builder score of 80+ receive offers of 6.1x pre-tax profit, compared to just 3.55x for the typical business. And many see their value increase by up to 71% after completing the full process. It's time to build a business that gives you freedom, value, and options. The Hoku Legacy System, built to protect your legacy and empower your next chapter.
Welcome to Willie's Wings, home of the secret sauce.
I'll take a dozen wings. Oh, by the way, I love that sauce. What's in it?
Can't tell you.
Why not?
It's a secret.
While many financial advisors claim to have the secret sauce, they don't. In fact, if their sauce is so good, why are they keeping it a secret? Del Fujinaka of Hoku Legacy Solutions doesn't keep anything a secret. He knows there's much more to retirement planning than stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. He'll develop a strategy designed specifically for you. It's your own secret sauce for retirement. Call Del Fujinaka at Hoku Legacy Solutions for your personal portfolio x-ray. Call 808-741-8125. That's 808-741-8125. Or online at hoku-legacy.com.
Fine, you want to know what's in the sauce?
Absolutely.
Tablespoon of paprika.
Really?
Yeah. You're listening to Hoku Legacy on CBS 1500.
Hey, you've been listening to Success, Sports, and Finance, your success, your sport, your finance. And my name is Del Fujinaka. We've been talking with Mr. Jay Iranon, a lot of great success stories with sports that he gave permission to coach somebody to the NBA. And great story on that. And now we're finishing up with in business. So many things to unpack, but we have a couple minutes here and then I'll wrap things up. Jay, can you speak into creating that win-win-win situation more than just profit? I love it when we talk about our conversations about profit, but with purpose.
Yes. You want to create the optimal scenario in everything is that everyone, we're thinking on behalf of the entire element, the entire involvement. That includes the one that's selling it, the people that are buying and investing in it, and those that are living in it. And we want to make through the seller financing, we're making condominiums available for people to purchase if they want to purchase, rather than just rent the rest of their lives because they simply can't afford the deposit.
Gotcha.
There's other ways to have skin in the game, I believe, rather than just the deposit. The seller financing that we want to create is to be flexible if they can't provide a deposit down.
Yep.
And you're looking for people, the skin in the game is that they'll lose the opportunity to obtain their home with someone that is willing to forgo or restructure a zero deposit down structure. And if they can put a 20% down, then great.
Right.
That's fine. But the flexibility between zero down to a 20% down, which is typically a market structure of banking.
Right.
And we want to create that for them. Now, it still provides a very solid long-term return for the investors.
Right.
It's in the Kohala Coast, but it's in this really neat niche just up inland a bit, about 10, 15 minutes from the Kohala Coast.
Right.
And
now,
called White Coast Village.
Now, Jay, we have a hard stop here, but are you open to talking? They need to be accredited investors, but feel free to call in or text at 808-741-8125. You open to going deeper in why this is a win-win situation, Jay?
Certainly. Yeah.
Okay. Again, I'm quarterbacking this. I see the hard stop. I'm getting better. And it's how you start is how you finish, right? And so many principles involved, and I appreciate your time, Jay. So good with tying in your success with sports and finance. I so look forward to new interviews. Remember, it's who you hang around with that matters most.
You've been listening to Del Fujinaka, Managing Partner of Hoku Legacy Holdings, simplifying the complexities of managing your cash flow and empowering you to live and leave your legacy.